Hi guys, and it is Kate here to do a video on when you are wrong about a book. And back in the fall in September, I had a really rough reading month with lots of DNFing, and I had a whole video on DNFing, and those were books that I kind of thought I wouldn't like, and so I DNF'd them, and I was glad that I had DNF'd them. But now this is a video on books that I thought I wouldn't like or I didn't like at first, and I ended up loving them. And I'm happy that I was wrong. I'm happy to be wrong in a case where it's going to be a book that I love. So the first is Strong Poison by Dorothy Sayers. Now I had read Whose Body, which is the very first in Dorothy Sayers' Lord Peter Wimsey series. And there was really not anything that I loved about this book. It had everything that I gripe about with Golden Age mysteries, which is they're just too much whodunit and not enough whydunit. There's no character development. The sleuth is not really appealing to me. I don't want to get to know them. And I just... yeah, there wasn't really anything appealing. The mystery itself was just very simple and just didn't really leave me guessing. I wasn't motivated to figure it out. But I then heard from so many of the fans that, well, you have to wait in the Lord Peter Wimsey series until you get to Strong Poison, which is when Lord Peter Wimsey's romantic interest, Harriet Vane, comes in. And I was very skeptical, and I said, you know, in my worst reads of 2016, you know, I was really skeptical about reading Strong Poison, but I host a mystery book club, and I asked them if we could read Strong Poison so I could get it like checked off the list to be able to tell people that yes, in fact, I had read it. And my mystery book club said yes, and I can't believe how wrong I was about liking Dorothy Sayers. I absolutely loved this book. I loved it so much. It was such a wonderful way to start off my reading year in 2017. And in case you don't know, Strong Poison is about the character of Harriet Vane, who is basically framed for murder, and it just looks extremely likely that she's done it, which is very like, I think, like stereotypical of Golden Age storyline of like all these impossible circumstances inside a locked room, and you know the key was on the inside and that type thing. So it's kind of a common thing with that, and so it just looks extremely likely that Harriet Vane had murdered her ex-fiance. And Lord Peter Wimsey from the beginning says she did not do it. And he's just very smitten with her from the beginning also, which was a really fun element. And this, to me, I am realizing, I think it's more I just don't like reading Agatha Christie. It's not so much that I don't like Golden Age mysteries. There were so many things to love about this mystery. And it was clever. It was engaging. It was funny. It was so quotable. I'll read a couple quotes to you because I wrote down so many quotes. It was thought-provoking. It had references to culture. And so it was also very cozy, though. And so what I think is special about some Golden Age mysteries, I'm realizing as I'm reading more, is that they have the relaxation factor that modern cozies have, like Agatha Raisin or the Daisy Dalrymple mysteries, but they are more literary and have amazing quotes. So it's all of the benefit of a modern cozy, but with, you know, the writing benefits of a more hard-boiled. So it's this really special mixture, and at the same time very lighthearted and fun, and you could just tell that Dorothy Sayers took such joy in writing this. And now for a couple notable quotables. It was natural that the conversation should turn to the subject of murder. Nothing goes so well with a hot fire and buttered crumpets as a wet day without and a good dose of comfortable horrors within. The heavier the lashings of rain and the ghastlier the details, the better the flavor seems to be. I don't think I should care to marry a murderess, especially one that's been trained on detective stories. One would always be wondering whether there was anything funny about the taste of the coffee. Here's an especially cozy quote. The theater-going crowd surged home in saloon and taxi. The lights shone over the empty width of Piccadilly. The heavy night lorries rumbled slow and seldom over the black tarmac. The long night waned, and the reluctant winter dawn struggled wanly over the piled roofs of London. Bunter, silent and anxious, sat in his kitchen, brewing coffee on the stove and reading the same page of the British Journal of Photography over and over again. So like I said, I just really loved all of the coziness that it had, but in the same time, it was very clever and very literary feeling, and I cannot wait to get on to more of the Lord Peter series. I don't know, honestly, though, if I will be going back to the beginning of it, you know, to read the ones after Whose Body and before Strong Poison, because I enjoyed this one with Harriet Vane so much, and I've heard so many people say that they're the best ones in it. So I think I'd more just enjoy rereading Strong Poison and then reading the other ones that follow that. And then the other book that I'm very happy that I was wrong about is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This was one that I was reading simultaneously with Strong Poison, and like I said, it was just a lovely, lovely way to start off my reading year. And when winter rolls around, I really crave fantasy. And this was highly recommended by Olive over at A Book Olive. It was one of her favorite books of 2015. So at the beginning of 2016 in January, I picked this up via audiobook. And it got to a certain point in the story that is a spoiler, but I wasn't expecting it. And when it happened, I put it down and I said, I'm not interested in this at all. And then a year passed by. I didn't want to read it at all. And then I can't explain it. I just had this unexplainable urge to read Uprooted. And I'm so glad I did, because this time around I was prepped for what was going to happen. And I still wasn't wild about it, but it didn't jar me this time, and I ended up absolutely loving this story. Uprooted is about a little village that's somewhere in Eastern Europe, and that was another thing that I think I just really wanted, something set in Eastern Europe, kind of Russia type area. And there is a wizard who keeps a dark magic at bay, and this wizard is called the Dragon, and his trade-off that he does to keep this dark magic in the woods at bay is to take a girl from the village, one girl every 10 years. And when he takes these girls, they stay for 10 years, and then they're allowed and free to do what they want. And none of the girls end up wanting to come back to the village after the 10 years. They all want to go leave and travel the world, and they're just very different, and you don't know why. I think one thing that I really liked about this is that the plot was very unpredictable. I had no idea what the ending was going to be, and I didn't know what was coming, so it was really great just to get swept away in a story that was very romantic and very atmospheric and really fun. So I know this is not for everyone. You can see on BookTube there are so many mixed reviews of it, but I personally really enjoyed it, and I think you'll like it if maybe if you don't read a lot of fantasy. I don't know. I think people who don't like this as much maybe read more fantasy so they know better fantasy that's out there. I don't know. I think this is just kind of, yeah, there's just something about it that I really liked, and it just felt very otherworldly, which is what I want. I want like escapist literature in the wintertime. And a quote that I really loved from it was, "Kasia had imagined leaving because she'd had to. I never had. I loved Vernick, the deep soft woods around my house, the long bright running of the spindle beneath the sun. I loved the cup of the mountains around us, a sheltering wall. There was a peace deep in our village, in our valley. It wasn't just the dragon's light hand on the reins. It was home." So once again, so glad I was wrong about this, and something about it, I just felt swept away by it, and that is one of the reasons why I read. I just really wanted a story to get lost in, and I was really anxious to get back to this every day, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So let me know if there were any books that you were wrong about the first time around or were skeptical about, but you ended up enjoying in the end, and I will see you guys for another video soon.